Welcome everyone to the Med Spa Accelerator Podcast, brought to you by Everable Marketing, the go-to resource so you can get the latest hacks and best practices to market and grow a profitable medical aesthetics practice. My name is Maripili and I am obsessed with all things business, marketing, operations, numbers, and helping you grow and take your med spa to the next level. This is the Med Spa Accelerator Podcast, Season 2.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So we've been doing an event series, and today actually will be the last episode on the event planning for the holidays. And we're going to finish off this series talking about mistakes that you should avoid, specifically 5 mistakes that we've seen time and time again. And we want to ensure that these don't happen to you.
Yes, please. We have been doing this for a really long time already. And it is sometimes like the simplest of things. But it does make a huge difference when you have these things like ready to go and top of mind so they don't happen to you.
Definitely. But before that happens, tell them what they got to do, babe.
Yes, if you've been listening to us for a while, we would definitely appreciate a review from you. You know how important these are, so please do make sure to go into your favorite podcast platform, check it out, and leave us a comment, leave us a review, tell us what you think. Also, if you love a video like we do, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, click that notification bell so you get the latest episodes on what we do.
Yes, don't forget to join the Facebook group. Again, it's a free community of other people just like you going through the same things. So the link is below and hopefully we'll see you there.
Okay, so let's get into it. What is the number one mistake?
Yes.
Well, these are not in a particular order.
We're not in particular order, but we'll still go number 1 all the way to 5, right? So 5 things that we wanted to highlight because we, again, like I said, we see them time and time again. Yes. And so we want you to avoid these at all costs, okay? So we'll start number 1.
This is the one that I find the most irritating.
Which is doing a poor job of informing your staff and just ensuring that everybody's on the same page. And it's funny because, we've definitely highlighted this one in several of the episodes, and there's a reason for that. Because It happens time and time again. And honestly, it's really frustrating, like being on our end and telling our clients, reminding them that, hey, you make sure you need to over communicate. And I think that's the thing. And honestly, it happens to everybody. It happens to us too. It even happened to us today, and so where it's just like, maybe, you said something, but maybe you didn't ask, or maybe your staff didn't ask clarifying questions. They kind of just said it and they took it for face value, but they didn't maybe really think it through. Or maybe they just didn't really think of a question at that moment in time, but then later they thought of another question and then maybe they didn't, verbalize it or whatever. And so at the end of the day, I think repetition is going to be really important here.
Yes.
And ensuring that sometimes you need to repeat the same thing. And Frank, look, honestly, I'm the kind of person, it's like, look, man, I want to tell you once. And like, if I have to tell you more than once, like I'm already annoyed and frustrated. And, you're business people, you're high performers, right? Obviously many of you are in the medical industry. So you have to kind of perform at a higher level. And so I get it. I think Billy and I, we get it. But I think this is what it means to be a business owner a lot of the times. And you have to be dealing with these kinds of things. And honestly, it's just communication is just a big thing. And honestly, a lot of the times we're not as good as we think we are when it comes to communicating. I think it just can easily happen. And so I think part of it is just coming up with effective strategies to ensure that, one, you're communicating effectively, that your staff understands exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that I feel that, like I was saying before, being able to repeat things 3 to 7 times.
And also I find it in different ways.
Because
everybody kind of learns different and understands and gets information in a different way. Mm-hmm. So you do have to be very aware of your people. How do they understand it better? And maybe you're right. I want to say this one time and that's it. And you better get it. But at the same time, it's the what ifs kind of start coming into play.
For sure.
And that's when like communication or the objective can get a little bit blurry.
And so definitely, if you're not having team meetings with your staff, like that's something that needs to be done. It needs to be discussed and almost questioned, because, you know, your staff needs to have questions. If your staff doesn't have questions, that's a red flag, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they're afraid to ask a question, or I don't know, whatever it might be, right? But honestly, you should really try your best to get them to ask the questions that they have. Yeah, encourage them. And then I think the other one that's also like a fail-safe is writing it down.
Yeah.
You know, I think one thing is just having it said, right? But another thing is just that people are going to forget, you know, hey man, they got their own stuff going on. They obviously have their current duties that they need to deal with. And I think that at the end of the day, if you put it in a written format, it's obviously going to help them refer to it back later on. And so I think one of the things, like we mentioned in one of the previous episodes, write it down, write down the promotions, write down what's going to happen, the days, the times, right? What are going to be the incentives? Every single detail should be on a piece of paper, and it should be printed out, stapled on the wall and with the break room or something, you know what I mean? And then on top of that, I would also say, like, and this is one we tell our clients all the time, like, man, like if you're running a promotion or special, print it out and have your front desk have it next to the phone, next to the computer, like something, so they can quickly refer to it. Because, man, I mean, you know, part of our process is that we help our clients have more transparency within their organization. So the calls are recorded. And so whenever we get a phone call, it's being recorded. And we hear it time and time again where somebody picks up the phone and like, oh, hi, I was calling because of X promotion I saw on Facebook. They're like, oh, like I didn't even wait. What?
Which promotion?
Which promotion? Give me a second.
Let
me just check that. Let me check with someone else. And honestly, it's cringe worthy. I mean, it kind of really sucks being able to hear those things, you know, and because at the end of the day, you lost credibility, you potentially lost a sale. And specifically when you're running these events, we need to run a tight ship and everything needs to flow together.
One of the things that I also recommend is like make sure to have not only everything written down in maybe like a prose format, but also like a question and answer type of way, as well as what would the process look like. And you can never be too descriptive, especially on processes, but there does have to be some sort of like way where maybe even like imagery could help.
Sure.
So like internally, we do have a processes and we actually include emojis for it. So if there is like an exclamation mark, we know it's important. If we have the little like eyes or the thumbs up or the check mark, like they all mean different things, and they're supposed to let the staff know like what's
and the interesting thing, and that was going to be one of my other points, is that our staff actually came up with that. Like it wasn't Billy or I.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that I was going to say, ask your staff, hey, what works for you? What would you want to see? Like what would help you really get this down? Yeah. And that's a system our staff came up with, and we're like, great, you know, like
it works.
Yeah, let's run with it.
So if it works, they actually cut everything down like time wise.
And part of it too is like if they actually come up with the idea, then I feel like they take ownership a lot of the times, and then they can like actually run with it a lot more, take responsibility and all that good stuff, which is what you want. So that's really great. Point number one, you know, make sure your staff is all on the same page and everybody knows what's going on. Number two,
lack of role play and run-throughs. So this kind of goes hand with number one, right? You want to make sure that you have everything written down for your staff to understand exactly what's going to happen during the event, after the event, the processes, everything. But also, let's actually role play it and let's actually run through an entire event so they know what happens. Because as we were saying, like sometimes the staff, they don't have questions right there and then, but it is until they're doing it that these questions start coming up, and all of the what ifs. What if like a client asks for this instead of that? What happens if something happens during the day? So doing like a quick run through some scenarios or even some role play is going to be really effective so that you can have a better event at the end of the day.
Yeah. And so I recommend this one to our clients every single time, just because of how important it is. And it's like part of sales and sales training is role playing and actually like with your own team members practicing with each other. And honestly, it should be the same thing when it comes to these events, because again, everything should be mapped out from when a person walks through the door everybody should know what they need to do, who's going to pass the baton to this X person, so on and so forth, what needs to be said when that person walks in, what forms they need to fill out, where are they going to sit down, where are they going to go. All that stuff needs to be choreographed. And so, like Billy said, a lot of times people don't even know they have a question until it's actually happening. And then that's when things come up. So practice. It's just practice, because once the event gets there, it's crunch time. Like, we can't be like fumbling around and trying to figure things out. You're going to look really unorganized and unprofessional. And so practice. Yeah. Super important.
And so it also depends on what event structure you're doing. So especially if you're going to be doing a virtual event, you want to practice, because technology can fail sometimes.
Gosh, yes.
So if you're going to have a virtual event, something going on, you better make sure that you do a run through with the Zoom, with the Facebook Live, with whatever it is that you're going to be doing. If you're going to be doing virtual consults, make sure you do a run through of that and practice. But especially if you do have a goal, the goal for like consultations, or it's like your consultation week, then having those choreographed is going to help maximize the time and also get those goals met, right? Because your people already know what's the next upsell, what's the downsell, what's the cross sell, what do they need to do. And choreographing it. I love that. So
number 3 is going to be not having one-on-one consultations. And so, I think part of this, it also depends on what kind of event or promotion that you're going to be having, right? Like I said, you can actually do a one-on-one virtual consultation. So that can be an option too. But the reason we put this one here is because we've had a lot of clients that do a party event and they just have a party, but yet they don't really make a lot of money. And then they're kind of like, oh man, like I put all this effort into planning this party. I put all this money into, the drinks, food, DJ, decorations, all that stuff. And I didn't really get a return out of it. And well, it's because you're not really creating an environment where sales are going to happen. Right. And so for us, we always recommend to have a few days or part of the day where, hey man, 15-minute, 20-minute consultations, they don't have to be super big. Again, it's sales week or sales day. And so you want to have a streamlined consultation where you're actually getting to have the opportunity to have, is a one-on-one consultation with that person where, again, they can talk to you about whatever it is that they're dealing with. You can present your solution and how it's going to solve their problem. And then they can say yes to the treatment. So I think that one is super important. Now, we talked about how you can do certain sales online and different things like that. Like you can still definitely do that. But we feel that the clients that have adopted the one-on-one consultation process end up making a ton more money.
If you want to do something that is a little bit more passive, then some of these online events work great. Like you can just get them and they will just run almost by themselves, right? That's why the whole 12 days of beauty or the 30 days, if you listen to some of our other episodes, we talk about that. But do not underestimate the power of actually having a conversation one-on-one. This is the best way for you to actually understand that person, really listen to that person, and then almost get a custom treatment for them. Maybe they might need several services and you're losing an opportunity on selling more if you're just doing the one service. So
our recommendation is that if you're doing lower ticket or mid ticket services that people are already familiar with, for example, Botox, dermafillers, certain lasers, different things like that, you can definitely sell those online and that's not that difficult. But when you want to go into your bigger packages like Cool Sculpting, M-Sculpt, anything really that's body contouring, anything like that, those will require in-person consultations because, again, it's a bigger investment and
it's also customized.
Yeah, it's a lot more customized and it's riskier for the patient as well because it's a lot more money, right? Yeah. And so they need to go through that sales process. So make sure you implement some one-on-one consultations if you're really trying to maximize that event. So that's number 3.
Number 4 is not having a sales process or a script for the event. If you listen to our other episodes, we talk about the whole process of selling your service, upselling, cross-selling. And I think this is the best way to actually maximize your event. So in order to do those things, you need to make it easy for your staff to understand the process and make it super clear so that things flow as easily as possible, and you already giving them all of the tools that they need.
I mean, we say this all the time, but like sales is the number one lever that you can pull to get exponential returns in your marketing and your advertising and just growing your business, period, right? And so earlier I talked about choreography. And so there's this kind of term that started to be used in the industry a while back. It was like sales choreography, meaning that everything is planned out. As soon as the person walks through the door and they start engaging in that sales process, everything is choreographed into your script. You know, what are the questions that you're going to be asking, but then also what is going to be the upsell opportunity, the cross-sell opportunity, even the downsell opportunity if they say no to some of those upsells. Again, you're trying to maximize the lifetime patient value from that particular person that you're having a conversation with. And so it's a simple, a very easy example that everybody's familiar with is just going to any fast food restaurant and then asking you, hey, do you want to get a larger drink for $1 extra or whatever, right? You want to water size that, you want to super size that, right? And then, so that is the upsell right there, but that's planned for. Like, it's not by mistake, it's engineered, you know? And so I think for you to maximize the event and make sure to get the most out of it, you need to have all that stuff planned out. And your staff needs to know about all that stuff as well.
Yes, remember, at this point, you already choreographed it, right? So it is just makes it simpler to have everything written down as well. And in the next few episodes, we actually are going to have another mini series where we're going to be talking all about sales. Because, of course, you know, we know you've been planning these events with us. You have your people there. So the next step is how can you actually get most of the event revenue, right?
For sure.
So that is the sales part. Stay tuned for that because I'm really excited about the next few episodes.
Definitely. Those are going to be good. Last but not least, number 5 is going to be not incentivizing, 1, your patients, but then 2, your staff members. And so we talked about both of those things in the previous episode. So number 1, incentivizing your patients, right? And so again, every single step of the process, you want to ask yourself, what can I do to encourage them to take the action sooner than later? Again, you want to have an incentive to get people to show up. You want to have an incentive to get people to purchase. You want to have an incentive for people to invite a friend to share their experience online, whatever it might be, right? Whatever it is that you want people to do for that event, go ahead and create an incentive around it. And then on the flip side, you want to have incentives for your staff.
I think that is huge because if you really want to make sure that they feel part of the business, that act as a team, because I've also heard the flip side and they're like, well, you know, like I don't want to do like maybe like commission structures or whatever for my staff because I don't want it to become a competition between them. So there are ways that you can still do that, but create it as a team, right? Like maybe, I think you mentioned this example in one of the previous episodes where for every sale that is made, there's like a part that goes into a pool and then that gets divided into everybody. So that makes a lot of sense because everybody's acting as a team and helping each other out to get to those goals. But that incentive can also just make everything a lot more fun as well.
Yeah, a lot more fun. And I mean, it's fun to be competitive. Sometimes it depends on the person, right? But no, some other things that maybe don't revolve around money. Hey, it can be like, hey guys, if we hit this goal, you know, everybody's going to get an extra 3 days off next following year or something like that, right? Paid vacation. Hey, we all go on a team vacation together. I don't know, right? It could be, you know, have fun, dinner. Yeah, like, and we go to a really fancy restaurant, you know, we all have a good time. Those are all different ideas. And honestly, you can ask your staff, hey, there's 3 options. What would you prefer? And let them pick 2. And again, you're empowering them by taking in their feedback. And I think that in itself would actually incentivize them even more that you're taking them into consideration.
Okay, so those are our top 5 rookie event planning mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs. So hopefully you found this mini series helpful and you are ready to roll. It's already October, so it's already November. So we're pretty close to the big events of the year. Hopefully you have everything ready by now. And
we hope it's great. We hope you crush it. This episode was more of a reminder, like, hey, these are the 5 pitfalls that we tend to see all the time. And so definitely this episode is a reminder, But go out there, go and crush it, go and make it happen, right? If you have questions, join the Facebook group and ask us there, right? If you have questions about, hey, do you guys think I should run this promotion or this other promotion? Or do you guys think that we should, make a week event instead of a one-day event? I mean, go on there and ask us whatever it is that you want, and we will definitely get you answered right away.
Yes. Okay, so for the next mini series, I'll see you in sales.
See you in sales.
Bye.
Bye-bye.